Good evening, guys. Welcome to the channel. This is a very exciting video that I'd like to bring to you guys on the Toyota Supra. It's a car that I've always loved, and after a very long time, they have brought it back. So, before I get into the 2020 Supra, I want to go ahead and pay tribute to the original Supra. Just explain a few things first. So I'm going to do that right now, right here on the screen. And I'm going to let you guys take a full look. The original Supra right here. If you guys don't understand the history of the Toyota Supra, it started out as a A40, A50 model. Move along to an A60, A70, which was the one previous to this generation, with its 1JZ motor. Now, a lot of guys know what the 2JZ is, but the 1JZ motor came in a GE and a GTE. If you guys don't know what that is, the G stands for performance, the T means turbo, and the E means electronic fuel injection. So the 1JZE became a very popular engine prior to 92, 93. It became a very desirable engine, producing upwards of 280 horsepower. Now, the current, or not the current, but was then 20 years ago, current generation, the A80 Supra, is the one that everybody wants and that everybody knows, which is the 2JZ motor. Now, what is the 2JZ? Well, the 2JZE came in many different trims, and the one that everybody really refers to is the GTE, which again is the performance. G meaning performance, the T meaning turbo, and the E meaning electronic fuel injection. So, the 2JZ GTE was the car that produced 280 horsepower in Japan due to the gentleman's agreement, because the top speed limit over there is like 68 miles per hour. Guys should look it up. The gentleman's agreement. So the Toyota Supra produced 280 horsepower, but when it was released over here in the United States, shortly after, it had bigger turbos and a bunch of other little goodies in it, and it produced 320 horsepower. You guys are wondering, why does everybody mod and want the 2JZ motor? Well, that's quite simple. The reason everybody likes it and it's so prolific in the tuning scene is because the 2JZ is an iron block, or has an iron block. It's tough as nails. If you guys don't know anything about the 2JZ, it's just insane how much this block can handle. And it's only being held by 2 bolts. That's unheard of. 2 main bearing bolts hold everything in place in this block, and it's insane to think that it can handle that much power. It's only to think it's like gargantuan, or, whatever word you'd use to describe how absolutely amazing this block really is. 12 forged counterweight steel crankshaft can handle huge power at huge speeds. The oil pump and the water pump will never fail, almost never. It's unbelievable how strong they are. It's a fully closed deck, and the engine can withstand enormous cylinder pressure because it's a closed deck. So if you guys don't know what any of this means, I'm sorry I'm talking in such a language, but I'm trying to explain to you guys. It also has forged connecting rods that are just super, super stout. The oil-cooled cast aluminum pistons can take an enormous beating on the 2JZ. Basically, what I'm saying to you is that a stock 2JZ can do 600 to 800 horsepower. It's about as easy as a Hellcat can make 1,000. It is unbelievable that you can almost triple the horsepower in a 2JZ engine and not have to worry about any problems. There is another picture I want to share with you guys right there. It's just unbelievable thinking about the power that you can get out of the 2JZ. I just had to pay tribute to the original monster that was meant to compete with the Corvette. And it is a sick car. It is probably one of the greatest machines to ever come out of the automotive world. In my opinion, second place out of Japan. There's only one other car that right now I could tell you for sure that is as good in almost every way, and that is the Skyline R32, R33, and R34. But the Supra is an ingenious and timeless design that can give you lots of fun and make enormous amounts of power. And not only can it make enormous amounts of power, it can do it reliably, like very reliably. This guy's making 900 wheel horsepower and a rather stock Supra. It goes without saying that this is a marvel of engineering. So I just want to put that out there and bring you guys a little bit of history and a little bit of engine knowledge on why the 2JZ such a great engine. And so when they announced for years they were going to bring the Supra back, they've been saying this since 2014 or 15. There's been leaked information on the Supra. So we basically want a Supra back. Everybody does. This is the Supra that we wanted. On the screen right now is the Supra that we all expected. The Supra that we needed. The Supra we wanted. Anybody can agree the picture on the screen is pretty much what we thought we were going to get if Toyota had designed it. Instead of getting the picture that's on the screen right now, we got this. So what is that right there? We're going to dive into that, okay? So Toyota doesn't have engineers that are capable of putting out this kind of performance. They just don't. They don't have the money and they don't have the know-how currently. The generations changed. The people that work for Toyota right now weren't around in the 90s, most of them, when the Supra was designed. I would be probably starstruck if there's less than a half a dozen people still there that had anything to do with the Supra at all. There may not even be. So what is that? Well, without dogging on the car, and believe me, I'm a Supra fanatic, okay? I love the Toyota Supra. Like I said, one of the greatest cars ever designed in the history of humankind in automotive. And the second best, or tied for first, to ever come out of Japan. That's coming from a guy who's owned several Hondas and true Type Rs and driven a lot of different cars in my entire life. And the Supra's fantastic. However, that right there is a BMW Z4 Roadster. In fact, it's identical to the new Roadster coming out 2020. We haven't had a Roadster Z4 or Z4 at all in a couple years. I didn't mean to say Roadster means convertible, but that's a Z4. And a lot of people are pissy about that. Extremely pissy. And I don't blame them because, like I said, that's what we got, and this is what we thought we were going to get. That car on the screen right there is absolutely gorgeous, and if they'd given us that in a 500 horsepower V8 or a twin-turbo V6 making 500 or 600 horsepower, that would probably be one of the best-selling cars in the next couple of years. However, we didn't get that. In turn, we got this or this. Whichever angle you want to look at, that's what we got. Looks like a Miata. And they're not saying there's anything wrong with the Miata. So what do we know? Let's tell you guys what we know. First off, I'm a BMW guy as well. I've had a couple. And the engine in the new Supra is a BMW B58. If you guys don't know what a B58 is, it's basically the next generation of the N55, so to speak. Similar in the N55 or the S55. The S55 is the engine that came in the BMW M3 in the previous generation or a couple of years ago, which is a big upgrade from the N55. You guys don't know, the old Toyota Supra had a certain setup in their turbos, so you'd have no lag. They had it completely set up. Similar way, you could say it was kind of prehistoric twin scroll. This way you would have no lag. And BMW has a twin turbo, which basically replaced the N4. If you go back to 2008, you'll see an N54, all the 335i's, IS has 135i's, twin turbo. The N55 replaced the N54 with a single turbo with a twin scroll. This way, it's going to spin at two different levels. You have two scrolls on the wheel. It's hard to explain without getting into details, but it's going to have two different settings for the turbo, so you have no boost lag at all. The N55 also handles more power. I made 400 wheel on just a tune, a catless downpipe from JB4. It was a stage 2 and an intake and an exhaust. Basic stuff, no more than $2,000 in mods, made 400 wheel. That engine only came with 300 horsepower. The B58 comes with, I believe it is 335. Don't correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's 330 or 335. Anyway, I really wish they'd gave us the S55 since its previous generation. If they had given us the S55, we'd have a 430 horsepower Supra, and we could live with that. We really could. 435 would not be too bad. However, they didn't give us the forged and built internal S55 of the BMW M3, which is super stout, take all kinds, probably 24 PSI with no problem, and you could crank out 550 out of that engine, bolt-ons and a catless downpipe. However, they decided to opt for the B58. Now, if you guys are wondering, what is a B58? The B58 is the engine that comes in the BMW X3 M40i. There's two versions of the X3. One is an M30, one's an M40. M30 comes with a B48, which is 4-cylinder, and it makes like 268 horsepower, or 248, excuse me. The BMW M40i is the B58, which is the top dog in the BMW X3 market. It's like a $60,000 SUV, and it's a very powerful engine. And believe, tell you, the suits very nicely and accelerates to 60 miles per hour in the mid-6s, mid-4s. So if we have the same engine as the Supra should be very capable of braking low 4s, high 3s. That's very, very fast for a car in this price range and for its weight class. So I'm going to get to the good and the bad. We've already explained what we think sucks because they what we weren't expecting. We already know that we wanted the look of this Supra right here, and we're not getting it, apparently. They gave us this. Now, the good side of things, people are complaining about they wanted more power. I'm going to agree with you guys that 335 horsepower is pathetic. It's actually quite weak, except this car is only going to weigh about 3,200 pounds. So if you could somehow manage to get 400, I believe we're probably going to hit a dead wall or a brick wall in this one here again tonight, it seems like. I think we're back. Okay, good. There is an issue going on here. I don't know what it is, but we'll talk about that later. So back at it again. I believe everything is good here. So I know a lot of people say the car is ugly. Let's get right to it and talk about the power. Okay, so if you guys want to make serious power out of a B58, you know, I'm going to speak to you guys from experience with the N55. I'm very familiar with this platform from BMW. And, you know, I'm sure that JB4 is going to be having, you know, the stage 2 tune like they do for everything else. There's a website. I'm not going to disclose that here for BMWs. Definitely look into it. You should be able to piggyback this Toyota Supra with a very similar tune. I'm sure they're going to make something for it considering it's backed by BMW and everything's BMW in the car, including the Continental electronics that are used for programming the tire pressure sensors and the body control module and the powertrain module. I really hope they didn't put a footwell module in there like they did in the BMWs. That means if the footwell module freezes, you'll lose control of your power mirrors, lights, and all kinds of stuff, but the car will still drive. It's crazy. Too much electronics in the BMWs. Way too much. Hopefully Toyota left it bare on that one, but most likely didn't, considering they didn't design any portion of this car, really, except put their badges and logos all everything. But, you know, I'm not bitching about it. I think I've gotten my point across how I think it's not quite the best looking car. The rear end is better than the front, but the power is where it's going to be at. And with a tune, a cold air intake, a catless downpipe, you should be able to squeeze 20 PSI plus out of this, no problem, and you should be making in the 450 to 500 range. Considering my N55 was only 300 stock and I made over 400 wheel, you should be able to make at least 450 wheel with this engine. That means you're putting out 500 plus. So anybody out there who thinks the powertrain is not good enough, please understand that I agree with you that 335 is weak and that I think it doesn't look anywhere near as good as it could have. But the simple truth is being a guy who's worked on BMWs, tuned them and raced them and owned a few of them, this vehicle is still very capable of making power. It's just not a Supra. It's a Z4 branded as a Supra, almost like the Mitsubishi 3000 GT days when the Dodge Stealth and the Avenger were around. It was kind of, sort of like that. But if you think about this, a 3,200 pound car, 3,200 pounds, making 500 horsepower. It's very doable. It's very, very doable. Been there, done that with BMW. So where does that leave you? Well, that leaves you with pretty much the weight of a C4, C5 Corvette with a Z06 505 horsepower engine. You're looking at a low 12, high 11 second car. Very possible. So the question here is the Supra. It's very horrible. It really is very horrible. It's also very great at the same time. They have given us a car that if they had put any other name on it, any other name, if they had called this car anything else, it would be amazing. But because they took the legendary Supra name and stuck it on this is what makes it horrible. I am very much impressed with the engine and the power plant they gave us. I'm impressed with the interior. I'm impressed with most of the exterior minus the front. Overall, great car. It's also horrible because this is not a Supra. So just understand that I do think this car is amazing. I also think it's horrible because it's not an actual Supra. When you're inside, it even has the display on the center console right above your gauge, or not your gauge cluster, right in the dashboard. It's a BMW display. It looks like a 1 Series car. This looks like a BMW 1 Series car or a Z4. That's basically what it is. So, you know, with that being said, I can't say anything else about the car as far as what it looks like because we all know it'll never look as good as this. This right here is what the Supra looks like. That's what everybody knows. It's so iconic. To be honest, the name almost dead. If I had to name a totally different sports car. This is not a Supra. It's a great sports car. Don't get me wrong. It's a great sports car, but it's not a Supra. Just by name only. Toyota didn't design any of this. So if you guys wonder what I think of this, overall, I still think it's a very great idea. I just wish they'd take the name of Toyota or the name Supra off and call it something else. I really don't know what they should have called this car, but maybe you guys don't agree with me or maybe you do. I don't know. I just think it's horrible that they called it a Supra. I wish them success. And Toyota's been great in the past. I really seriously wish them all the best, and I hope it works for them. But I have a feeling they're going to have some serious sales problems with this car because true diehard Supra people are not going to buy this car. They're not going to. The majority of them won't because it doesn't look anything like a Supra. This is a niche market right here. This car might sell 5,000 units in the first year, maybe. Maybe. It may not even sell 5,000. Yeah, I agree with Dan here. It's a great idea. Piss poor execution. If they had brought this to the market, this picture that's on the screen right now, if they had brought this to the market, it would be unbelievable. I just wouldn't be able to disagree that it would be a genius design. That is gorgeous right there. And it's just sad, really sad that we couldn't get that. That's what I would have loved to have seen. It would have been absolutely fantastic. Unfortunately, that will never happen. And it's all thanks to Toyota not being able to engineer their own cars. Now, they're not the only ones that do this. There's plenty of manufacturers out there that take Mercedes engines. I'm not going to get in here and start talking about all of these companies, but I just want to make sure that's well known. You know, I'm going to go ahead and put one more picture on the screen here of the old Supra. I'm going to leave it there because I really love that picture and I love that car. I really do. And, you know, I like I said, I wish Toyota the best. I just don't think it's going to sell that well. I think it's going to be a very weird situation for Toyota. because they didn't design this car at all, and they're calling it a Supra. And that's the only real problem I see with the car. Take the Supra name off and call it something else, and you'll have yourself a serious contender in the performance world. Would I rather have the new Toyota Supra, or would I rather buy a Honda Civic Type R? Due to its true heritage, I'd rather have a Type R, but because the Toyota Supra is a great car, if it didn't have the name Supra on it, because it's an abomination if you ask me, just in that regard, I'd rather have the Supra if they called it anything else, because it's an amazing machine. It looks good. The seats are great. Overall, the styling of the new car is great, but because they tarnished the name Supra with it, I don't know if I'd ever want to drive it or own it. That's the problem I'm having with it. It's separation anxiety from the A80 Supra, from the 2JZ GTE engine. That's the problem I'm having right now. So on to everybody here in the chat. Anybody knows me, I don't just do Mopar content. I know a lot about different cars. I've been through the automotive scene a long time, and I've owned a lot of different cars. And I love everything. You could say that pretty much I'm a junkie for cars, and I absolutely love it. And I agree with Ace Roland. It's not the Supra they promised us at all. This, one more time, I'm going to put on the screen. That is the Supra that we all wanted. I'm sure everybody here in chat agrees, right, that the Supra that's on the screen right now, that's the one we all wanted. If they had given us that, I would have my checkbook out telling them, take my money. I would even consider trading in my red eye for that Supra. If you agree, I'd like to see your guys' comments that Supra on the screen right now is as nice as the original. That's probably the nicest new hyper-type car that I've seen. I really love that car right there. I really do. So would love to see what you guys think of that car right there. That is a gorgeous car, and I just wish Toyota had given us that, because that is a work of art. In fact, I can't find a single issue with that design. That design on the screen right there is flawless. Why they wouldn't give us a flawless design, don't know. It boggles my mind how they can, leave us hanging like this. But whatever. Overall, if the haters and the Supra fans are going to come in here, look, I'm not hating on the Supra. I'm going to say that one more time. I love Toyota. I love all cars, and I like the original Supra. It was, like I said, probably one of the greatest cars ever made, and the best to ever come out of Japan, minus the GTR. It's right there with it if you're just joining, and I just wish we had gotten a little bit better of an engineered car, and I wish Toyota were more hands-on. Unfortunately, they don't have the money or the capabilities to do that. I've had some comments in here, an update on the red eye. So, good news and bad news. The good news is my car officially arrived at Twin Oaks, which is basically Philadelphia. And it arrived there 4 days ago, and we're waiting for a truck to pick it up and bring it over to the dealership. So that should happen tomorrow, hopefully. They told me tomorrow or Thursday at the absolute latest. So no matter what, unless they're really messing things up and, Murphy's Law, I should have the car tomorrow or Thursday. I really should. I mean, Philly's an hour from me, literally an hour drive, and they're only going to bring one or two cars at a time. So there's only one other car. So how long does it take to drive an hour and unload another car before mine? So if he picks mine up tomorrow, it'll be here tomorrow. But they told me that either way, before the end of the week, I'll have my car. So I'm thinking tomorrow or Thursday. I don't think it'll be Friday because it's been there already since, last Saturday morning. So that's the update on the red eye, guys. I'm hoping to bring that to you guys tomorrow. But I'm uploading another special video tonight or tomorrow. And it's a tribute to the Hellcat Charger. Smash those thumbs up if you guys want to see a tribute video to the Hellcat Charger. Because I could definitely do that. And also smash the likes for the Toyota Supra, because I think it's going to be a great car. I just wish they had called it something different. I really do. Fast and Furious movies never get old. I mean, I grew up watching them, and I absolutely love them. And I just, like I said many times, love cars, and I can never get enough racing or building cars. Never. I absolutely love racing, and I love building cars. Nothing makes me feel better than to know that I can go in the garage, work on something, and put it on the drag strip and run a good number, or just drive down the street and people see mods that I'm doing and the taste that I have to personalize my vehicles. So it is really a passion, and the Hellcat really brought me back from that, you know. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end this live stream. And the reason I'm going to end the live stream is because I want this video to stay about the Supra. So I'm going to end this live stream and start another one in 15 minutes. And I'm going to hang out with you guys for 10, 15 minutes. We're going to hang out, talk about on another video. Because I'm going to, if you're watching this video and you want to get all the way to some guy, this is basically chassis, but lighter, combi 50 engine, 35 horsepower. You'll get it easy. It's a platform car. It was engineered by BMW. It's not. I really hope for the best. It's good performance. It's just doesn't look like what they process it would. We knew BMW was designing this engine to begin with. In fact, it was the most tight secret in the auto world. Nobody knew. It's almost like this and greatest magic trick. Toyota had BMW engineer, nobody had a clue.